Good morning, good people, and happy 4th of July. This is Duncan at Free as an Eagle, and just wanted to do a catch-up. It's been a few days since I've been in touch. It's been very busy lately. I do some real estate, and I made the mistake of dropping a new listing right before the holiday, and I've been absolutely swamped with phone calls and other things, but nevertheless doing a little bit of work on the house here. So I'm going to give a quick little recap. I zoom my phone. I finally bought a gimbal. I realized I got to step up my game with the video. I've been getting my fingers in some of the picked in the videos. So, trying to step it up a little bit. So I'm walking over to the south side of the building. You can see this funny colored hodgepodge of various stains that I used to seal the floor deck so the water wouldn't affect it. And luckily it's worked very well. We got some heavy rain here and it just pooled on the surface of this floor deck, and I had caulked it with foam board adhesive along the edges so it kept water out, so it actually worked quite well. So I'm walking to the back of the house, and my son Austin and my son-in-law Rob helped me out. We built this deck frame. I've got flooring on the way, got a big order coming in Friday. But anyway, I just want to do a quick run through of how we built this frame for anyone that's interested in knowing how to build a deck properly. One step that was actually really a good move, because I had foundation being poured here, and I had contracted with the main excavator guy. I got these precast footings, which pictures of are in some of the other videos, but they're precast 4-foot tall tapered footings, which using the tapered footings is a great thing for several reasons. One, it saves your back, saves you a heck of a lot of wasted energy digging, and you get a nice result. Because he had an excavator, he could just dig down and set these in the ground, and I'm surprised these guys are good at what they do. The foundation is nearly perfect, and then these piers were all in a line and set at a depth within less than an inch in terms of height, which really doesn't matter in terms of posts, can be cut at any length. But I created an interesting way of doing the measuring here, which made it very simple and error resistant. But anyway, you can see this concrete footing comes up, and there was a kind of the threaded bolt sticking up out of it, which you can't see now, but you buy these metal post bases that sit on top. They're bolted down. There's a large nut and washer to hold those down, and then from there up, what I did was, my son Austin came up the other day, and what we did is put the band joist on the frame, and I lowered it a little bit. They said it was a good idea to, because of snow reasons in the winter, if you have say you have a French door or a slider going out onto a deck and you may have snow there, you want to open a storm door or something, if it's a couple inches lower, it's a minor nuisance stepping down that bit, but as far as snow and all goes, it's easier to get doors open when they're at a lower level than the actual interior floor, and it's less likely to jam it up so you can't get the door open. So I took that advice. So attaching a band is a little bit of a procedure, especially I had put the foam board on here and cement board on quite a bit of it. I didn't get cement board under the rest of this, but I realized it's going to be pretty well protected, so I'm not too worried about it. So attaching this ledger board, you can see we cut away foam and cement board there. Over there's no more cement board, so it wasn't too hard. We just took a handsaw and cut the foam back. So we set the ledger board in there. It's 18 feet short 3 inches, because the way you want to nail these things together is you nail the end 2 joists. They're 1.5 inches longer than the rest of them, but you can end nail them into that band. So the band is secured with a combination of 12-penny nails from a nail gun, and then we love these these probably aren't actually timber locks, they're galvanized heavy lag screws you can shoot in with a impact gun, so we use that technology. You can see joist hangers are in there. That one's got some temporary screws in it. We're cheating, we ran out of the nails. There's little galvanized solid nails there, and everything's got to be galvanized to deal with pressure treated because of corrosive aspects of pressure treated wood. So everything we use for hardware is galvanized. You can see those bolts, so we have those every couple of bays. We have a lot of nails in there, so that won't come off. under any circumstances. So the interesting thing we did when framing, and I like to do this because I don't like doing a lot of math when it leaves room for error. So what we did is started out by, after the band joist was attached, we took the end joist, we used the best 2 pieces of wood we had so that things would be straight and true. And what we did is ran these things out at right angles. We added a little brace to lock it in place. And then we came out to this end. Now, I don't have it with me now. I ran up here because I didn't have a chance to video while we were working, and we wanted to get this wrapped up yesterday. So anyway, I had a 4-foot level sitting on this joist. And what we did is just held it out square and level, and we attached these legs to it and hammered them into the ground a little bit so they wouldn't go anywhere. And having done that, then we attached these posts. We measured the width of this girder down here. It was about 9.5 inches. So we measured down from the top of that metal post base up to the bottom of this floor joist, and then we just subtracted 9.5 inches. That gave us our post heights. So then we cut these posts out of pressure treated 6x6, and we did the same procedure on these other 2, and they were all within like less than an inch. So having measured down, we were able to, actually before we took those measurements, we added this band joist that's out here that's sitting, or actually, yeah, right here, the band joist is this end of the joist box. Before we added the rest of the joist, we didn't want to overload with weight with those legs. They would begin to deflect and screw the measurements up. So once that was attached, then we could measure safely down on all of these. That one ended up being 24 1/8. So anyway, we did that with all 3, made the posts, set them in there, and then we proceeded to literally, we pre-built the girder, and so there's only 2 2x10s here. It was sufficient strength to support the system. And we actually took these 2x10s, laid them out on the floor deck, and assembled it, nailed it together quite securely with a nail gun. And the benefit of putting it up on the deck was easier to get to it, and it also guaranteed that it's straight. So having it laying on the floor deck meant that girder would come out straight and true. So then we put it under here and attached everything, and you can see here, so the joist box itself, we end nail into these, and it locks the joists into this box, and on the other end you can see the joist hangers, which are required, and they really secure it. So we're going to go back. We had to add hardware. We didn't have quite enough, but well, I had help. It was a good idea to get it all assembled. I can, excuse me, come back, which I will do, and add a little more hardware to beef this up. And then, of course, so this is all sitting on the girder. And to make sure everything's square, what you do is take a tape and you measure the diagonal. So you hook the tape on the end of this joist going right in that corner, that end there, and measure all the way out to the opposite corner. You do the same thing from the other side, and if those 2 numbers match, then you're square. So that's how you avoid a parallelogram, which becomes a problem when you go to put flooring down, and it looks stupid. So the other step so far was just attaching this whole box to this girder. So this girder is nailed into the post in a few places, which I'm going to add some hurricane ties, some hardware to make that, say, tornado resistant. So if something tried to pull this deck apart, there's a heavy, heavy bolt into that post base. There's hardware connecting it into the post, and then you have some nails here, but with hurricane ties, they are metal straps basically that link the post to the girder. Then I can add some to these joists, and it would make it very hard for this to be yanked apart by extreme wind. Then, so for now, the nails will hold it, and then we're going to add a little more hardware. Nowadays, with climate change and more extreme weather, I'm really building this thing to withstand extreme conditions. Seems like overkill, but if you're in an extreme storm or you got 100-mile-an-hour wind, overkill suddenly seems like a really good thing. So walking around here, yeah, we ran out of hardware, so we got to add some. But you can see the general idea here is this is a really solid deck. Not to brag, but because the foundation guys did a really good job, and this excavator guy did a good job setting these piers in the ground. This whole entire deck is, everything is within 1/8 of an inch. nothing was further out than that. So we took our time, we were careful, and there's an expression in contracting, there's never time to do it right, but there's always time to do it over. Well, I try not to be that guy. I don't want to do it over. I hate working backwards. It's one of my pet peeves in life. And I'll do it if I have to, because an old buddy of mine I used to work with for years once told me something very insightful. You know, I was on a job and I hated working backward, and when I was younger and a little prouder than I am now, I didn't want to admit I'd done wrong or screwed up. And if you make a 1/4 inch mistake at the foundation level, it'll haunt you all the way to the roof. Nothing will quite fit or work right. So he once told me, he said, you know, Duncan, the only mistakes in the end are the ones you don't fix. And I took that to heart. I'm like, you know, damn, that guy has a little bit of wisdom hiding in there. He was a kind of an angry, obnoxious guy, but he wasn't stupid, and he had integrity. He wanted to do things right. So since then, I've tried to make it a point to obey that adage. You know, the only mistakes in the end are the ones you don't fix. So you fix it, it's not a mistake anymore. It won't be held against you. So that's a good thing. One more tiny detail. So you see some gray ledger flashing down there. And what that is, that's going to sit, if I can do this without losing my video, I'll demonstrate how this is going to work. But this is a product that avoids getting water where you do not want it, which is behind the band joist. I've got to keep my camera in place. So this here is a product that you use, and it's going to go here. It's going to be cut a little smaller and just nailed in, because eventually we're going to have a finished floor in here. We don't want this sticking up beyond anything, so that's a little bigger than it needs to be. But what that will do is guide any water that might come in here. That water will go down over this, and then at some point I'm going to seal this, probably actually flash this down so that any water getting in there will escape and not do damage. Now the ultimate outcome of this thing is this roof, for various reasons, looks, plus making this solar friendly in terms of summer sun not entering. The roof overhang is going to come out all the way to the end of this deck to a point. So the roof overhang is going to be 8 feet out at the top and only 2 feet out at the bottom. So it'll create this really neat looking V, and it will shade this deck quite a bit. It'll shade the house. So there will be some glass that allows light to pass through on this end to create a little greenhouse thing on one end, probably over to the right, and then the other side will have a little hearth and a wood stove. So hopefully very soon, starting next Monday, I'm going to have a big delivery actually tomorrow, Friday, with all the rafters and the big wood for the big build. So Monday will be the exciting part. We'll be actually starting to frame the A part of the A-frame, and then we'll have a structure. So this is all preliminary. I have staging that once we have flooring on this, we're going to have a set of staging here, another set on the other end, and then we're going to set that up 20 feet in the air, and we'll be able to work off of it. I'm just going to take a walk up here. We'll look at the staging for a second, and then you got to have a pretty good idea what's going on. The porch, little 8x8 porch, is going to go on this end. I think today we're just going to start framing that because I don't have materials to do anything else yet. I have enough to put the band on that. I'm trying to keep this workplace clean. I hate clutter and junk, and it's much safer to have a clean work site. So I try to clean the trash up every day and not have too much to trip on. So this staging, my brother and I actually went down to near Nashua, New Hampshire. There was a place that was selling off a bunch of things because they were moving their shop. So we got this for a lot less than you'd pay for it new. It was about $600 to buy 3 sets of staging, and that seems like a lot of money, but if you try to buy this stuff new, it's ridiculous. So anyway, that blue staging is going to go up on one end. Al's got another set of staging. My brother Al, who's been in contracting for about 30 years, he's got a bunch of it. So we are going to set that up, and that'll be what we work from. So anyway, that's the catch-up of what's gone on the last few days, and then tomorrow we get a big delivery, and then Monday we'll begin the big build. So that's the exciting part. This is all working up to it. It's been a long trudge to get to this point, but now we are just about where we want to be with this. We're ready to get going. So anyway, have a great 4th of July, and looks like a pretty nice day coming. It's probably going to be in the 80s the next few days, so it's a little warm for working, but up here in the woods, we got a lot of nice shading with these beautiful tall maples, so they are a thing I'm very glad to have. It'll keep it a little bit cooler. And when things get hot, we shoot down to my house, which is only a couple miles down the road, and we jump in the pool. And we will be using that. We did yesterday and it felt good. Anyway, enjoy your 4th, or enjoy whatever you're doing today. You might be watching this further down the road. Have a good day.